Well, can you believe that Cody Rhodes and Goldust are on a fucking pre-show and not the main show?
Can you believe that in 2014 that this is the way we're kicking off a pre-show?
Yeah, we're kicking off a pre-show with a tag team match that means nothing. No. Winner is number one contenders. No, just a random tag team match.
Yeah, well, if you were going to do a random match to kick off a pre-show, let me just go out on a limb here since we've been talking about women's wrestling for the last 25 minutes. Why don't you do like Brie Bella versus Natalia with the winner being number one contender for AJ Lee's title?
Yeah, because apparently she ain't got no contenders.
Yeah, now that Naomi's out, they aren't even going to have a match at WrestleMania. That's what all the dirt sheets are saying.
Yeah, so that storyline for Total Divas is next.
Oh, yes. So
kind of like JoJo.
Yeah, kind of like that. But it's worth at least picking a winner in this. Who do you think's going over? Chat room, play along.
I'm going to pick Cody, Rhodes, and Goldust. You know what? I don't know what it is. I kind of like Curtis, Axel, and Ryback as a team. But here's the problem. I kind of like when they had Heyman in their corner because it kind of, you didn't have to like notice them as like, oh my god, this is the worst team ever. You kind of had Heyman talking for them. So I'm just kind of confused on how long they're going to make this go. So Cody, Rhodes, and Goldust, and I have no idea what they're going to do with them next.
I almost feel like if they're going to have a singles match at WrestleMania, you have to have Ryback go over so that the next night on Raw, Cody Dust can break up and say that they're not working together as a team because they keep losing all their matches.
So do you have, okay, they break up as a team. Do you bring Dusty in and then you, of course, bring in Cody's wife, Brandy, who's down on NXT, and the Shockmaster?
I don't know if the Shockmaster is necessary. I don't even know that you need, Father Dusty or you need Brandy Styles, whatever Eden, whatever her ring name is right now. I think it could just be the simple fact of they blame each other for their losses and they start getting into a scrap.
Yeah, I don't know if they want to go there for a Mania match. Maybe they don't think it's Mania quality.
But at least if they start feuding now, they can build up to a match at some point, whether it's at Mania or it's at Extreme Rules afterwards in New Jersey. They could still do something somewhere.
Well, would you add a stipulation to it, or would you just have it be a one-off match?
I can't even say until they actually break up with each other. Until they play out that angle, and I think that starts on Sunday, I don't know if it's going to be hot enough for them to add a stip. But the chat room seems to think that Ryback is going over.
And they're all wrong. But okay, Cody Rhodes and Goldust, they break up. Okay, who's going to be the heel in this situation?
I think Cody Rhodes is the better heel just naturally, just his face, just his attitude. But I have a feeling WWE will make Goldust the heel because he's older and they think that there's more life in Cody Rhodes because he's younger and can be around longer.
As long as if he does turn heel, it doesn't involve him becoming Black Rain again.
That was TNA, so they ain't never going to acknowledge that. That won't ever happen in WWE.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't go back to that phase, we're okay.
The only time you're going to see anything like that is if they have the old WCW Nitro episodes on the network, and you get to see him as Seven.
Yeah, as long as we don't go back to that. Maybe if they have him come out there and strip the paint off, and he's serious, he's Dustin. Rhodes,
They're going to have me come out and play Christmas all year long.
With the cowboy boots on and everything, yeah.
Still one of my favorite promos ever. God bless R.D. Reynolds for introducing me to the Seven promo.
Maybe they're going to go that route. But Cody Rhodes, I don't know. It's kind of like they kind of like him as a babyface, and then they also like him as a heel. So I guess we're going to have to see if they actually break up. Next match on the card. Wow.
What the hell? Kevin, what are you doing to us here?
A website started to pop up an ad. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I forgive you. It's all good. But
it's okay. We won't call Shockmaster. That's what it felt like. Shockmaster just ran in on the podcast.
Actually, I thought Kevin was starting to play the Rap is Crap drop from Raw Reaction.
Oh, dear God. I listened to that, and the fact that I remember the song. Yeah.
See,
Ooh.
people think because I'm a hip hop guy that offended me, but I thought it was hilarious. I was like, oh my God, the No Limit Soldiers suck, and the West Texas Rednecks are going to get over. And that's exactly what happened.
I just remember, I remember that one episode Nitro, Master P comes out there, and mind you, I was not a fan of Master P because it was during that time he had a song, Make It Say, and I was
See
just
now,
like,
see now, I
what?
like that song. I have nothing against the actual No Limit Soldiers. When I say that the No Limit Soldiers sucked, I mean the wrestling version sucked.
Oh my God. And then, before we get to the wrestling version, and they were out there and they were playing some terrible song that they had, and Master P was just going, say, and then all of a sudden, here comes, Kurt Hennig and all them out there on the tractors. Rap is crap. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I remember Conan and Rey Mysterio jumped over the ring. And mind you, No Limit Soldiers, everybody had on camouflage and they had on camouflage. And I'm like, oh, I guess you guys are down. Like, it was just terrible.
That was during WCW's let's throw anything at a wall and see what sticks phase. And quite frankly, they should have known better because a large percentage of WCW's fan base was in the South. They should have expected that the West Texas Rednecks were going to be the baby faces and the No Limit Soldiers were going to be the heels. How they thought that would go any way different is beyond me.
Yeah, and what the funny thing is, I remember I watched Kevin Sullivan's shoot, and he was talking about that, and he said to them in creative, he's like, "Do you guys know where the fuck we're located?"
WCW's headquarters was in Atlanta, for God's sake.
He's like, "Do you actually think, okay, we're gonna have the heels go out there with country music, and the crowd's gonna boo them?" He's like, "Are you crazy?" Like,
That might have worked in Stamford or at Madison Square Garden, but not in Atlanta.
Well,
and
I,
he's
I I will say this in their defense: they are in Atlanta, which at the time was starting to really explode in hip hop and was gaining a lot of energy. And I think that's
hmm
what WCW was trying to play off of. But the bigger thing is they're not in Atlanta; they're in the South. In the bigger genre, Dirty South was still a very small thing. In Atlanta, it
yeah,
was huge, and go over next door to Alabama, though, you're in a whole different country.
That's
yeah,
true. And,
yeah,
and, and Alabama hadn't blown up as a rap territory. It took a few more years for that to happen.
and you gotta think around that time, you didn't have many acts from the South. You had like Outkast, and you had Master P, who became like the biggest thing. You
And Goody
know,
Mob.
you had Goody Mob, and you had like Ghetto Boys. You had like random acts there, but it wasn't as huge. I always think about that whole program. I'm like, I wish they had done this in 2002 or whatever when Dirty South music got big. Could you imagine them coming out there singing that rap is crap and Lil Jon and Rain talking about get low?
hmm Or, or like Killer Mike or Bone Crusher comes out there. That would have been some shit.
Like the whole crew. That would just been like, what is going on? But
Yeah, David Banner. Now imagine if they had done that feud with David Banner instead of the No Limit
oh
Soldiers.
god, that
That
would
would have
just
worked. That would have been huge, but it was too late. David Banner didn't blow up till way after that.
yeah, Pastor Troy or none of them was around. Isn't
No,
that terrible? But
yeah.
we were talking about
Elimination Chamber. I think you were about to talk about the chamber match: Orton, Cena, Sheamus, Bryan, Cesaro, Christian.
yeah, isn't it crazy to say that all together? Just Orton, Sheamus, Christian, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan. Like what?
I have a prediction for you, Sierra. I'll let the chat room play along with this one too.
hmm
I think the first person getting eliminated, and I hate to say it, is Christian.
You know what? I've been. Is it okay? I got a big question to ask everybody.
hmm
I know a lot of us like Christian because we tolerated him when he was in Brood and we tolerated him with Edge. We were fans of the whole, 5 second pose and all that stuff. But like since then, he's had his mediocre runs. And I mean, he's kind of charismatic, but it's like I just feel like it's kind of like the same thing with Natalia Neidhart. We all just always feel like poor Christian. Poor Natalia. They just never get anything. It just
I,
feels like we always feel sorry for them somehow.
I guess I don't because I was one of the Captain Charisma peeps. I actually bought the T-shirts. I was down with him. I supported him when he went to TNA and had his run there and got to be world champion a few times. I feel like Christian has gotten a lot more out of his career than anybody would have ever expected, given that Edge went on to be a rocket ship strapped to his back, super mega star. And Christian kind of got left in his wake, but Christian still had a pretty good run. But it just now it feels to me like with all his concussions and all his health issues that he's kind of getting towards the end of that run. So I feel like he's cannon fodder for this match, and I hate saying that because he's incredibly talented in the ring, but
Hmm.
he's not the favorite here.
Yeah, he's just. And it's bad to say that, out of everybody that's involved in this match, that, no one's picking, Cesaro, who's kind of like, you know,
Actually, I picked Cesaro to be the last person eliminated.
You know, because you would think most people be picking Cesaro, even though he has the size and the stature. But he's in a tag team with Jack Swagger, which doesn't look like it's going to be going on too long. But Christian, everybody is just been like, is Christian's going to be first? And I hate saying it, but it's just like he's kind of doing what Chris Jericho was doing his last run. He's filler.
Or he's the guy that they make other guys look good with. Like that Chris Jericho gave Fandango a match that he couldn't have
Hmm.
gotten with anybody else at WrestleMania. That is the role Christian is slotted in now. He's the guy that makes other guys look good.
Yeah, and I think that eventually they're going to have to stop doing with that with Christian and actually give one of those young kids that spot. And well, we're actually having the American Wolves take on Bad Influence on TNA right now.
Yeah, well, I'll
Lovely.
have to watch that later. It's taping for me. I'll
Yeah,
stick to the Elimination Chamber.
yeah. But yeah, I see Christian.
I just see Randy Orton retaining at the end. I don't know about you, but I feel like they did this whole build up with him winning some and losing some just to make him look vulnerable, but I think he retains.
You know what? I don't see the title switching at all. I've been trying to think for the past couple of days would they actually, tease the title switch. I don't see it switching at all. I see some kind of screwy finish that somehow Daniel Bryan is involved in that title match at WrestleMania.
I could see that, and I could also see the Wyatt family finding some way to interfere when it looks like John Cena is about to hit the attitude adjustment and fucking him out of it to
Yeah.
continue that feud.
Yeah, I see the Wyatts, come out there with their creepy music and, hitting. Imagine if they hit the music and they kill the lights and the Wyatts are inside the fucking chamber somehow. And it's like,
I don't know if that's believable. I don't know if that's actually credible, but I would love it anyway.
yeah, I mean, it'd just be like, what? Like, how did you guys get in here? It'd be mind blowing. But I think,
Jeff picks his final three as Daniel Bryan, Antonio Cesaro, and Randy Orton.
everybody else picks. I said, seeing everybody's picking Cesaro being the final three.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to keep Cesaro in there for a long time. And I think they're going to do it mainly because they want to have him and Daniel Bryan mix up. Maybe him and Sheamus mix up. And I think they're not going to have him Orton touch. They're going to have those guys go at it for a while. So I'm going to pick Orton to retain. And I'm going to say he pins Daniel Bryan some kind of kooky way.
My final three is Orton, Cena, and Cesaro, with Cena getting fucked and Orton pinning Cesaro.
Hmm. That could happen. A lot of people are calling Cena taking the title, especially with this WWE Network thing going on.
I think they've finally reached that point with Cena where he doesn't even need to be the champion. They've gotten to that point where he's always going to sell T-shirts. He's always going to have his fans. He's always going to have his detractors. But he's always going to be a main eventer with or without a title.
So that's crazy. But another match we have Big E taking on Jack Swagger with the lovely IC title on the line.
If anybody in the chat room thinks Jack Swagger is winning, I'm going to call you a fool. I'm not kidding. I'm going to call you a fool with about 10 O's.
Okay, first of all, I wrote down some questions of this. Of course, you said you don't see a Titus switch here. I don't either. Um, if Big E retains the IC title, who is his next opponent?
That's a damn good question. They haven't really done a good job of setting up challengers for him.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I just don't see this whole thing with him and Swagger carrying on at to Raw the next night. I don't see
No.
this carrying over. So this is, I was saying it to someone. I'm like, this is such a one-off match just to give Big E another title victory, which is just terrible because they're using Jack Swagger in this way, as opposed to, maybe a younger up-and-comer, going after Big E, like, somebody like Fandango or somebody that he can beat up. Instead, we're getting Jack Swagger in this situation.
But I don't mind it because Jack Swagger can go out there and have a great match with them.
Yeah, and do we see Jack Swagger turn babyface after this?
No, if anybody in that team turns babyface, it's Cesaro.
It's kind of like they got them both kind of primed for that position, because I think they're eventually going to break them up and have Zeb Coulter pick one or the other.
Then I would say Zeb Coulter picks Swagger because they had that relationship to begin with, whereas Cesaro was the guy they kind of brought in late. So I can see Cesaro breaking off from it because the crowd already likes the big swing. They count along with him for every revolution when he does it. I think Cesaro is your natural over as a babyface guy. I think Swagger continues to be a heel because it fits him better.
Yeah. I also pulled up some chamber trivia. We'll get to that. Another thing, what does Big E gain from this besides Jack Swagger being a former world heavyweight champion? Like, what does he gain from this?
I think he gains the prestige of having a clean pin on pay-per-view and proving that he is capable of taking on any challenger, even a former champion, as you said yourself.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, I'm more so wondering who's his next opponent. And I think it's going to be the guy that's supposed to be debuting, Rusev.
Oh, yeah. Well, he kind of already debuted, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, it looks like they're setting up a big thing for him. So maybe we'll see those two big guys clash.
It would make sense. And who knows? Maybe they'll even tease it on NXT Arrival next week, which will be going head-to-head with us.
Yeah, what the hell? They trying to rival?
Yeah, WWE wants to steal everything we got. First, they want our programming slot, and then they want our podcasting with all their 30 years of WrestleMania and Talk is Jericho. It's like, can you give us anything? Can you cut us a little bit of the pie here?
Yeah, I mean, you have everything else. Jesus.
Yeah,
You
no
took
doubt.
WCW. Come on. Then we have another title match. We had the New Age Outlaws defending WWE Tag Team Championships against the Usos. Do the Usos finally win the titles?
It's hilarious to me that Angry Tensai from Raw Reaction right here on our very own site has turned against the Usos.
Yeah, what happened?
I guess he just does not feel them anymore. And now that they're in the title picture, he liked them when they weren't being considered. He liked them when they were the underdogs and nobody was giving them their respect. And now it's a classic troll move on his part that as soon as they're the top contenders, it's like, well, I'm tired of them because they shove them down our throats each week. Come on. You're the one who put them there in the first place.
Well, it's also that, and I think a lot of fans, I've noticed a lot of people have had frustration with the Usos. A lot of people like them, and if you think about it, for the past couple, title runs with the tag team titles, they've been the only babyface team they went after. The Shield. They were feuding with primetime players. They were feuding with Primo Epico, and then now they're feuding with New Age Outlaws. Like, they've been that consistent babyface tag team before Cody, Rhodes, and Goldust. They've been in these feuds where you always be like, are they going to get the titles? Are they going to get the titles? And they never do. And it's been a year-long thing. Like, it's been going on for so long, and I think if they don't get the titles on Sunday, then they've actually done crime time them to the point no one's going to believe it when they do get the titles.
Yeah, he did make that point on Raw Reaction that they've reached that crime time point of they're incredibly over. The fans love them. They're popular. People support them, but they're never getting the titles. So I think you and he are both right about that. The Usos are not winning.
Yeah, I I want to pick the New Age Outlaws. I think I just don't see a reason to take titles off them already.
No. In fact, if they keep him to WrestleMania and beyond, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, let them keep them, and especially with WWE Network, you get more time to plan out these matches. We have another match, and I don't understand why this is not the pre-show match.
Oh,
Darren
Darren
Young
Young,
take
Titus
Titus
O'Neil.
O'Neil.
I knew that's where you were going. Sorry.
The
It should
match
have been
that
the
nobody was going
pre-show.
to watch.
It really should have been the pre-show. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And then we could have had the tag team match be for number one contendership. Like, what? No one cares about this match. Like, first of all, the first question I have is, where the hell is this going? What are we
It's
gaining here?
they're trying to get Titus O'Neil over as a monster heel. That's what they're trying to gain.
Okay, is any of them, whoever wins this, going to go after Dean Ambrose or Big E for the title?
Maybe. I mean, actually, you were talking about needing contenders. If Titus O'Neil beats Darren Young clean, he's got to do something next.
Yeah, I think they're setting up Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose. I see something happen there. Um,
Well, that's only going to be when the Shield splits up.
yeah, and
We'll
another
we'll
question.
get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, and another question. It's 2014. Do you think it's time that WWE stops with the tag team lost their last couple matches and they split up and the one guy beats up the other like just mercifully, and then all of a sudden they're not friends. We're gonna have that random match to settle the score like Crime Time, and can we just split teams up and not have to do this all the time? It's so routine.
I know what you mean, but if it wasn't a wrestling cliche, it wouldn't be true. It's been this way since I was watching wrestling as a little kid, since
Hmm.
Marty Jannetty got thrown through the barbershop glass window. It's just the way it's got to be.
Yeah, you know what? I would really like to see Titus O'Neil as a manager of a team or something. Like he just has the just that annoying voice. Like he just keeps talking.
hmm
Like I think he'd be good in that role if he found somebody like an understudy. Um,
And
yeah,
with Darren Young, I want him to be successful as a singles wrestler,
hmm
but it's almost like he's too modest. I don't want him to be annoying like Titus O'Neil, but if he had a little bit of The Rock's charisma, it wouldn't hurt. If he was just a little more talkative and a little more assertive, he would be so much more over.
Well, see, when they used to have the older version of NXT Redemption on Sci-Fi, and they had him as a single star on there, but he was a heel, but the persona he had, it was very dry. It was nothing. He didn't make enough heat for you to dislike him. He didn't make enough heat for you to boo him. Like he was kind of like one of those typical heels we have on the roster of where we just know he's the bad guy. So they put him with Titus because Titus, when he turned heel, it was just like it just brought out this big ego. And I think Titus was mainly the personality in that group, except for their former manager. And I think them splitting them, we're going to get to see who's the shining light out of that team.
Like I said, it's probably going to be Titus. I'm predicting Titus to win this. It's just a shame because they've got all this publicity for Darren Young and they can't do nothing with it because he can't, whatever it is, he just needs that spark and he hasn't found it
Hmm.
yet.
And speaking of teams, we have a lot of teams on this pay per view. It's very team worthy. Why didn't they just call this, Tag Wars or something? I don't understand.
WWE Tag Team Pay-Per-View live Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Call
And put
your
them all,
cable or satellite provider. But don't call Dish Network because they ain't carrying it.
okay? Just put them all in a cage and call it, you know, war. rings or something like that. Tag Team Wars or something. I don't know. It's a lot of fucking teams on here. We have the Shield taking on the Wyatt family, and I don't know about you, but it seems like everybody is excited to see the Shield take on these backwoods fools that nobody knows where the hell they came from.
They came from the Bayou Swamp.
Yeah, apparently, but the first time we seen them was in Baltimore, Maryland. What? Like,
All I know is it's Solomon Grundy born on a Monday. That's where they come from. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's all I ever need to know about the Wyatt family. Is they're just a bunch of Bayou Swamp rednecks who wrestle alligators and wear sheep masks and scare the fuck out of people.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. For me, I really would like this if this was an elimination chamber.
I'd like it if this was the main event of the pay-per-view.
Could you just imagine just putting all 6 of those guys in the chamber and have them tornado tag?
Yeah, but that would get kind of awkward because you could have, if the pods open at random, quote unquote random, since we're going to just pretend that they do, imagine if it's like Bray Wyatt against all 3 members of the Shield all at once because the other pods haven't opened. I don't think that works.
No. We're not putting nobody in the pods because we're going to go with the belief that the pods are broken from the title match earlier, okay? So nobody can get in there. We're going to put them all in the ring together.
You're going to use the chamber, you're just not going to use the pods. Okay, I guess I could buy that.
Just the carnage.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, put them in a cage no matter what. I think there would be carnage.
Yeah, anything.
I strongly believe that the Wyatts go over in this because it has to lead to the Shield having tension and Roman Reigns breaking up with the rest of them and going on his own.
Yeah, they're really going forth with setting Reigns out as the guy of the group, and yeah, his random calling Renee baby girl last week. What? That was just the most randomest thing. And it was trending on Twitter. Mm-hmm. What? I'm gonna pick the Shield. I think that this is gonna lead to another match. I think this is gonna lead to another match. It's not finished. And then we might have that split.
A lot of people have been saying that this feud is hot enough right now that they could take it to WrestleMania and keep going for a while.
Yeah, I could see it going maybe to Extreme Rules.
But the problem with that is if you keep it going that long, then it messes up Bray Wyatt and John Cena having a singles match.
Well, see, here's the thing. Depending on, who wins that title match in the chamber, and what kind of finish they come with it, they're going to find something to do with John Cena. You know what? We might have Batista versus John Cena again.
No.
Duct tape? Why not? Extreme Rules? Why not? The rematch?
No.
Duct tape on the pole?
You're trying to tempt me here, but I'm refusing to take the bait.
What was that match Jeff Jarrett and Booker T had where everything was like in a box on a pole or something like that? What was that?
Oh, yeah. I forget what that was called, but I know the one you're talking about.
Why not? Let's just have that. And put Barney's imagination bag up there. Let them dig in there and figure out what's in there. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm just saying. Batista needs something to do with his life because I don't know for the life of me. This is terrible. Him and Alberto Rio.
Yeah, exactly. Where do we go with this? The only thing that makes any sense is for Batista to win clean.
This is terrible. And every show I've listened to outside of AngryMarks, everybody has said the same thing. This is terrible.
This is Sparta.
It's terrible. They have Del Rio cut all these promos on Batista before he comes back. And then Batista walks in there with his tight pants and doesn't acknowledge this guy for like 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden he's now roughing him up.
Believe me, it was hilarious watching him come out at Raw in Omaha. He's like, "You're nothing but a parrot to me. You're just a filthy dog.
Everybody's a dog.
I don't know what your problem is with me, but I already told you." And then he beats him up. It's like, okay, yeah, they're going to rinse, slather, repeat this for the next few weeks until we get to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, and what is with Del Rio? When he doesn't like people, everybody's a dog to him. Like, you can't call nobody else anything. Like, Everybody's
He,
a chihuahua. Like,
he clearly picked that up working in Mexico. He must have had some big feud with Los Perros del Mal at some point.
you know, I just, I was sitting there that one week when they were having that promo, and I'm like, everybody's a chihuahua. Do you not see a big David? Like,
I
I'm gonna,
actually started a drinking game during one of the WWE pay-per-views. I forget how many months it was, but it was back in 2013, and I said, every time that Alberto Del Rio refers to somebody as a perro, take a
yeah,
drink.
it's like, you can't call him nothing else, no fish or anything else. It's a para. He's got to be a para. Who are you picking out of this? And where do you see this going for Alberto Del Rio? Because he's not in a title picture. Um, what are they going to do with him next? And apparently he's unhappy.
Well, I don't even know that he's unhappy. He's just at a point where he's probably realizing he's gotten as far as he's going to get in
Mm-hmm.
WWE and realizing he can go back to Mexico and be a big star there. He's kind of in that Sin Cara position where I've done what I can here. If I leave, I can go back to Mexico and be huge.
Yeah, speaking of Sin Cara, we got to talk about that before we leave. Um, I think it's more so he's kind of. I think he's frustrated because he doesn't really have like a what's going on next, where you're going to next, because it just seemed like they threw him and this Batista thing together out of nowhere. Like, you know, like, huh? Del Rio has a problem with Batista? What? Huh? So, unless they're going to put him as Sheamus back together for the 900th time, and I feel sorry for Nick and Jeff on SmackDown because I won't be watching that again, ever. I don't know what they're going to do with Del Rio. So I'm going to pick Batista out of this because I do you think this match is going to be any good?
I think they can turn it into a good match if they let Batista just start out the match beating the unmerciful fuck out of him, and Del Rio gets a small comeback somewhere in the middle, and then Batista just beats the unmerciful fuck out of him and power bombs him to finish it.
And where is Elimination Chamber on Sunday? Where is it at?
Minneapolis.
Do you think the crowd is going to turn on this match?
Probably not. I think they've, I mean, I've seen them try to protect him by having live promos in the building to babyface Batista before he comes out. I think they probably do the same thing when we're not looking in Minneapolis. They probably have a video package airing locally in the Target Center while the camera is off showing us a video package on pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be talking about how he loves the Twin Cities, how the Vikings are his favorite NFL team. And when he comes out, people are going to pop for him.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how this match is going to go and if the crowd will turn on this. I'm mostly wondering if the crowd is going to turn on this match or the chamber match.
Oh, well, there's probably a better chance of them turning on the chamber because of the yes movement. I think if anybody other than Daniel Bryan wins, and both of us don't think that Bryan is winning it, I think they're
Yeah.
going to just totally take a crap on whoever's left after Bryan gets eliminated.